Hello everyone. So today we're going to be discussing the traits of totalitarian governments from Europe and Asia. Hopefully this will give you a good understanding of what a totalitarian state and government looks like, as well as give you some insight and a precursor of what we're going to be looking into this week. So some of the key traits of a totalitarian state are as follows, and we're going to be discussing these more thoroughly during the lecture. First of all is the ideology behind each one of these states, as well as state control of individuals, dynamic leaders, methods of enforcement, dictatorship and one-party rule, modern technology, and state control of society. So we'll be looking into and taking a deep dive into each one of these traits and explaining how they all contributed to a totalitarian state. So first of all is ideology. Every single totalitarian state, whether it is communist Russia, Imperial Japan, Nazi Germany, they all have a certain set of goals for their state, whether that's being expanding their empire, whether it's being raising up their military, whatever the case might be. Every single state has a set of goals. It also justifies the actions of its governments for the greater good. And also their aim is to glorify the state, bringing them back to power, bringing them back to where they once were. Because if you recall, a lot of these nations have been destroyed or humiliated due to the Treaty of Versailles. Next, each of the individual states want to have control of individuals. They demand complete loyalty, total obedience to authority. As we can see here on the right side, the Japanese emperor has complete obedience over his military and many of his servants. Personal sacrifice for the good of the state is also highly wanted by the totalitarian leaders. And many basic liberties are denied as well. As we will see here shortly in the video, many of these totalitarian states have dynamic leaders. These are leaders that are helping unite people towards a common goal. They encourage unconditional loyalty and uncritical support of the regime through the force of their will. And these individual leaders also become symbol of their governments. So here we have a video of Benito Mussolini, who is the totalitarian leader of Italy. And I will be explaining to you what I mean by how a dynamic leader looks like. So as we can see here, Benito Mussolini is currently on a balcony. He's greeting many of his supporters. So today we may see these physical attributes and movements as funny, as not threatening, but back during that time period, especially in Italy, Benito Mussolini controlled the crowd. He got crowds riled up using his physical presence. And as we can see through the video, many of his supporters will go wild. As we can see here, he's obviously taking credit for most of the things that he said during his speech, discussing how he wants to bring Italy back into power. But once again, just like Mussolini, many of the leaders are dynamic in terms of their physical attributes and the way they talk to crowds. They want to get crowds riled up. They want to get the support of their nation, of their people. Next, methods of enforcement. When you're in a totalitarian government, you are constantly monitored. You are constantly under the fear of the government coming into your home or to your business or to your personal space and taking control and controlling your life. They use police, terror, and organized violence against certain peoples or certain populations. Indoctrination, censorship, and persecution. Indoctrination is a huge thing as well. We will see this in Nazi Germany, where many of the German people were indoctrinated into many of the Nazi ideologies, mainly being the hatred and the persecution of the Jewish community. And as we can see later on in the week, when we discuss Nazi Germany, you'll see how the Jewish population were targeted by not only the government police, but also by individuals as well. And it wasn't just only minorities who were targeted, but also political opponents. We can see that through Soviet Russia. And one of the key characteristics of a totalitarian state is that there is a dictatorship and it's ruled by one party. There is absolute power of authority given to one individual. This individual has the power to realistically do as they please, regardless of what their party is like. They dominate all aspects of the government. That includes the executive, any types of laws, and as well as passing a judgment on certain things. And primarily, all opposition is destroyed. If there is a sense of any type of opposition, the totalitarian leader would crush them. We can see here on the right side, if you notice the top picture, that is an original picture of Lenin and many of his supporters. As you can see in the second one, it has been doctored. It has been edited to remove a certain individual. This individual was seen as a threat. So in order to get rid of them in the history books, they basically got rid of them. So that is one way how a one-party rule or a dictatorship can manipulate history as well. One way that totalitarian leaders can keep control of their population is by spreading propaganda through mass communication. We will see many of these military parades in totalitarian state. They want to show the people of their nation that they are strong, that they are powerful. They also want to show that they are building advanced weaponry. If you recall, during World War I, they were still using horsebacks or horses to go from place to place. Now we can see here in Nazi Germany, they've built thousands upon thousands of tanks. Tanks during that time period was an advanced technology. Also, they were wanting to be able to control the masses with information. This is spreading once again through propaganda. Propaganda is going to be a huge tool for many of these totalitarian states, regardless if it was true or false. Because again, many of the totalitarian leaders controlled the mass media as well. And then finally, we have the state control of society. These totalitarian states controlled every single aspect of your life. They had control over businesses. They controlled where you worked, where you lived, how much education you got, the family that you live with, or your family life, your youth, the religions that you participated in, and finally the arts. They censored a lot of things in particular countries. So these are all several ways in how totalitarian regimes are characterized. Hopefully with all these things in mind, this will give you a better, clear picture and understanding of what a totalitarian state looks like. And later, as we go on into progressing into the weeks, we're going to look at 4 different individual examples prior to the beginning of World War II.